Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Lawmakers will decide next week if South Dakota Attorney General Jason Ravnsborg should be impeached. Ravnsborg struck and killed Joe Beaver with his car near Highmore on a September night in 2020. The state has released hundreds of files in the investigation, including an interview with the late Hyde County Sheriff Mike Volek.
In an interview with North Dakota investigators, Sheriff Volek said Ravnsborg told him he thought he had hit something. Volek said cars hit deer in the area all the time.
And you know, I've had deer accidents where knocked the windshield out. I had also a deer come right through the windshield. I mean, and expecting to look for a body? No, I was not.
Right.
And if we'd have walked back farther, we'd probably seen the body.
Last week, the House Select Committee voted 6-2 not to recommend impeachment. The full House will have their say on April 12th. Sioux Falls police are still searching for 12-year-old Autumn Davis. The department shared her photo on social media earlier this week, asking people with information on her whereabouts to call police.
The department posts missing children under the age of 13 because they're considered endangered or unable to care for themselves. Any information on where a child might be is helpful.
Really, that's what we're looking for, is people just to kind of keep an extra eye out, and if they see somebody or if they know somebody or even if they have information, if they hear it, second or third hand, we'd still like them to call the police department and just share that information.
Right now, Autumn Davis is the only child under 13 that the Sioux Falls Police Department is looking for. 12 other missing children are between the ages of 14 and 18. Authorities in Rapid City are asking for the public's help to find a missing woman who hasn't been seen since mid-March. The 28-year-old was reported missing on April 3rd. However, she was last seen on March 15th.
She is described as a Native American woman with dark-colored hair and hazel eyes. If you know where she is, call the Rapid City Police Department immediately. Officials in western KELOLAND are looking into what sparked a wildfire west of Custer. The Wabash Spring Fire started around 7 o'clock Thursday morning. Firefighters were able to make progress while battling high winds during the day.
The fire is 111 acres in size and 50% contained. Highway 16 has been reopened and evacuations have been lifted.
Turning to weather now with meteorologist Adam Rutt. Looks like we're in for a warmer and calmer weekend, Adam.
Yeah, especially for the first half. We'll be looking at that milder and calmer stretch. By Sunday, things do start to change, and it'll be the beginning of a larger change we'll be watching for next week. But this morning, we don't have to worry about any of that. Beautiful start to the day across the entirety of KELOLAND. Really, you cannot go wrong with any of those views. We'll head on down to Lake Madison, where we have some ducks out there early this morning. 27, a north wind at 18 miles per hour. Breezy, yes, but well, let's face it, we've seen worse over the last 3 days. Temperatures across the region in the 20s to low 30s, the latter more likely towards Sioux Falls and Spencer at 31 and 32 respectively. But 18 as you head into Custer and Pine Ridge. And there's the big difference. The wind has backed off significantly. Yes, it's still at least breezy East River, but that wind is going to gradually back off as we head through your afternoon. And it's due to low pressure to the east finally getting on out of here. But the break is not going to be very long lasting. We'll talk about the rest of your extended forecast coming up.
Thank you, Adam. If you'd like to vote early in person for the Sioux Falls City election but can't make it during the work week, we have something to tell you about. You can go to the Minnehaha County Administration Building tomorrow morning from 8 until noon to cast your vote.
The last day for early voting is Monday and Election Day is Tuesday. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Later today, new U.S. citizens will take part in a special naturalization ceremony. They'll be taking the oath of allegiance. The
ceremony will take place at the Washington Pavilion in Sioux Falls. We will be there and we'll have the details tonight on KELOLAND News. As part of the Diverging Diamond Project, several streets will be closed today. The south half of the intersection at Terry and Cathy Avenues will be closed at 41st Street for pavement removal.
The work is expected to be done by the end of the day. Drivers are asked to use caution in the area and may want to find a different route. You have 2 more days to try unique dishes from restaurants in downtown Sioux Falls. It's part of Downtown Restaurant Week.
11 restaurants created brand new items just for the event. It started last week and finishes tomorrow.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, well, weather it is. As we see this pattern going into the weekend, a little quieter for us. That's kind of helpful for now. One thing, though, we will be bringing up are several discussion points about next week. And even on Sunday, we see some chances of rain showers developing across parts of South Dakota. A major trough is developing in the west. What does that mean? Well, it means that next week's weather is going to be the most active weather that we have seen in months here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a heads up here that if you have not been plugged on weather, you're going to have to be next week. We're going to have episodes of rain and thunderstorms at times. I think probably by Tuesday of next week, already getting a stronger signal that we're probably looking at some of that. The mountain snow is going to get its act together. Severe weather is going to outbreak in several areas of Tornado Alley, and it will be a very busy week, unfortunately, for folks south of us. Here in KELOLAND, how are we going to play out on this thing? Well, I think it's probably safe to say by about Wednesday is when probably the parent low pressure area is going to come out into the plains. We'll see how wide open the Gulf is, but as of right now, this picture here, if it's even halfway close, is going to give us a lot of talking points. We're probably looking at heavy wind whipped snow in western South Dakota. Arguments on how far east that's going to go, that's an argument for another day. We don't have to discuss that yet, but we will be, of course, entertaining all of the fallout from that because it's obvious temperatures are going to be a lot below normal in the wake of something like that. The other thing I think to think about, too, is that the amount of moisture we're going to see is going to start changing these numbers, which are still, of course, way below normal in a large area of central South Dakota. The last 30 days, you could go back the last 60, 90, you name it. It's been a pretty dry season. So here we go. Spring is definitely springing, if you will, in the 7-day forecast. We've got 50s to start the week. Numerous chances of rain. Tuesday, we're going to hit that harder. Wednesday, probably the best shot into Thursday. And for Sioux Falls, some degree of a warm-up followed by a rather dramatic cool-down. And I think that there will be more to play out on these temperature ranges as we get more clarity on how that's all going to unfold. But it's active. Numerous chances of rain for Aberdeen. Eventually, it will become a chance of snow at the end of the forecast. And for Pierre in central South Dakota, this is the best chance of widespread moisture by far that we've had in recent months. So from the perspective of the drought, it's extremely important that we watch the weather. We can't promise everybody gets as much as they want here for moisture, but I can tell you the Black Hills certainly look to be very favorable for significant amounts of heavy wet snow next week. Yeah, interesting. Check out details with our latest Storm Center update at KELOLAND.com.